afternoon, everybody, or good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the national airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Let me just get the pleasantries out the way. Let me just get them out the way. Number to call up is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show. Check your AM, FM listings in 250-plus markets across the United States of America. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show, also carried on ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80. This is Stephen A. Smith that you're looking at right now over the nationally televised airwaves of ESPN News. Now, I'm already disgusted. This Saturday evening when I watched Alabama come out there, act like they were the second coming of the Arkansas Razorbacks, turning over the damn football every turn. A fumble untouched by Tua Tagovailoa. You got a muffed punt. You got Jerry Jeudy, an all-world wide receiver, dropping touchdown passes like it's going out of style. You got Alabama outscoring LSU 28-13 in the second half, and it still wasn't enough because of how they stunk in the first half. I'm already disgusted by that. I was granted an elevated level of pleasantness, because I watched the Dallas Cowboys lose on Sunday Night Football. They go out to a 14-0 deficit. Dak Prescott, playing one of the best games of his career, was sullied by a performance by Ezekiel Elliott that I can only say mirrored exactly what he did against the Rams in the playoffs. Because he only had 47 yards rushing that night. He only had 47 yards rushing last night. And the Dallas Cowboys, lo and behold, like I tell you all the time, just wait. Take your time. It's coming. They will not let you down. There's a black cat running around that franchise for a reason. And even though it sullied the New York Giants last week, that ain't the point. It was a black cat in the vicinity of a Dallas Cowboys game. I'm telling you, it's coming. Just wait. Be patient. Take your time. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Do your Christmas shopping. Don't worry about them damn Cowboys. They will not let you down. You can book it. They ain't gonna do much. They might not even make the damn playoffs. Dak Prescott playing all world, Ezekiel Elliott not. Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper looking like the second coming of Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. Didn't matter. Studs like Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, Sean Lee at the linebacker spot couldn't even deal with Dalvin Cook. Couldn't deal with a Minnesota Vikings team without Thielen. Oh, did I have reasons to celebrate? Oh, did I have reasons to sit up there and just smile and say, you know what? I don't like the fact that Alabama lost. Tua wasn't healthy, though. I can understand he was a bit hobbled. He certainly wasn't himself, and if he was himself, because he still played ball, stands an interception right before the first half ended, giving LSU an extra 7 points to fumble, negating the first 7 points of the game that they would have had. That's a 14-point turnaround. Alabama would have won this game. It might have cost them a playoff spot. But these things happen, particularly with college students. I understand it. I get it. I don't like it, but it is what it is. I got to deal with Ryan Clark later. I got to deal with Marcus Spears tomorrow. They got me. Because Joe Burrow looked like a stud. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this brother was a monster. LSU can't be ignored. They deserve their props. And even though I was a little miserable Saturday night, again, Cowboys losing, Pittsburgh winning. Hell, my day was better. I wish New Yorkers I could talk to you about the Giants and the Jets, but frankly, I don't give a damn what they did yesterday, and I don't think anybody else does either. Both teams stink. Both teams need a new head coach, preferably next season. Absolutely, positively correct. I got all of that. I ain't going to sit up here and talk to you like there was some significant game that took place yesterday between the Giants and the Jets, who, as far as I'm concerned, should have let people park at the stadium for free. Why the hell should anybody have had to pay to watch that game? Why? Was it necessary? No. Matter of fact, I could make a legitimate argument that the Jets and the Giants should have paid the customer to watch them. But that's beside the point. Oh, no, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what's on my mind. Not the Jets and the Giants, not even the Cowboys right now, not LSU, Alabama. None of that's on my mind. That's not why I'm sitting here ticked off. There's another reason for that. And before I tell you what that is, let me remind my audience, because I'm so ticked off I missed doing my read. This is the Stephen A. Smith Show being brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. And I was supposed to tell you it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Well, damn it, I just did it. Now let me get back to my point. Why I'm so ticked off. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to lose it. I'm trying not to lose it. I'm trying. But let me say this. And I apologize to the national audience for the subject that I'm about to bring up that just sullies and contaminates most people the second they hear this franchise name getting mentioned. But it's necessary on this day because it's me, and I'm synonymous with this franchise. And I'm embarrassed. Enough showers, baths, and the beyond does not eradicate the stain, the stench that hovers over me every time my name is associated with this damn franchise. I'm talking about the New York Knicks. Most basketball people are sitting here right now going like this. What the hell did he bring them up for? I forgot they had a team. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you. They have people showing up at Madison Square Garden. Whether it's a basketball team or not is very, very debatable. The New York Knicks lost by 21 points at the Garden, Madison Square Garden in New York City on a Sunday night by 21 points to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not LeBron James' Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm talking about Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson's Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm talking about Sexton's Cleveland Cavaliers. The New York Knicks look like straight trash. The New York Knicks were so embarrassing last night, sanitation workers wouldn't have wanted to show up at Madison Square Garden. They couldn't take that smell. But that's not why I'm going off. You see them. Points per game differential, 29th in the NBA, dead last in offensive efficiency, dead last in field goal percentage shooting, 28th. That's third worst in the league in assists per game. They're trash! They stink! And ladies and gentlemen, just for the interest of full disclosure, ESPN Radio in New York City is the flagship station for the New York Knicks, and I'm still telling you, they stink! Period. Even that is not why I'm sitting up here ticked off. Had nothing to do with that. What it has everything to do with are two individuals I genuinely like and respect and was more than happy to see hovering over this franchise until yesterday. That would happen to be Steve Mills, president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks, and Scott Perry, the general manager for the New York Knicks. You know, Steve Mills was named president of the New York Knicks on July 14th, 2017. I'm going to show you how fond I am of this man. You listen to me, Jonathan Winthrop, my producer. You know how fond I am of this man, Steve Mills? You know how fond I am of this man, Scott Perry? I'm not going to mention the Knicks record since they've taken over. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give them that pass. because the record is atrocious. We anticipated that was going to be the case. I am on the record stating the obvious. David Fizdale should not have been picked as coach of the New York Knicks ahead of Mark Jackson. Why did I say that? Had nothing to do with David Fizdale's coaching. It had everything to do with the fact that you had to have a voice representing the New York Knicks franchise that New Yorkers would gravitate to, who they would listen to, and they would accord the necessary level of patience because he was one of their own. That's where Mark Jackson came in. Ladies and gentlemen, I will never in this lifetime defend head coach David Fizdale of the New York Knicks more than I'm about to do right now. Steve Mills and Scott Perry are throwing him under the bus. Somebody's got to say it. You don't do what the hell they did yesterday. You don't do it unless you fired the man. You don't do it before you fire him. You don't do it when you're about to send him out to coach the team. You don't do what they did yesterday. And in the interest of full disclosure, I don't think I've had more than one conversation with David Fizdale since he's been hired as the coach of the New York Knicks because I knew misery was on its way. And why the hell should I be in the path of that level of tension and depression and everything else that comes with it? I haven't spoken to David Fizdale in over a year. I like him. I respect him. I believe he's a better coach than the record indicates. But that is not why I'm sitting here going off. And I'm not going off about Steve Mills and Scott Perry if the conversation that they had took place with James Dolan behind closed doors. But how do you come out in a press conference with a straight damn face on an NFL Sunday evening in the immediate aftermath of an atrocious loss to a hapless Cleveland Cavaliers squad and literally say with a straight face, we were supposed to be better than this with the roster you have accumulated? How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on? I watched the game Friday night where the New York Knicks almost blew the game against the Dallas Mavericks because they missed 3 consecutive free throws. Julius Randle missed one. I forgot who missed the previous 2. I watched Marcus Morris handling the ball like he was a point guard. Like he was supposed to be the one running plays. I watched them give the ball to Julius Randle, not in the post. This brother was dribbling the ball up the damn court when everybody knows he's going left. Now, you could point the finger. And you could sit up there and you could say, that's Fizdale. You know what Fizdale can come back with? Who the hell am I supposed to give the ball to? What kind of roster did you accumulate? Marcus Morris? Julius Randle? Elfrid Payton? Frank Ntilikina? Dennis Smith ain't even there. Depression's got him home. R.J. Barrett is a rookie. He's got promise, but he needs to work on being ambidextrous too instead of using his damn left hand all the time. He says he's right-handed. When I see it, I'll let him know. What kind of roster is this? It's a roster that has no contracts past 2020 because for some reason the same Knicks squad that couldn't get Kyrie Irving, that couldn't get Kevin Durant, that wouldn't have LeBron James pass gas in their direction, somehow, some way, they're going to convince Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, to consider them. Or Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James in a couple of years. We're supposed to believe this? I have no problem with the fact that the New York Knicks roster isn't that great. I have no problem with the fact that, guess what? You're not that great. So we couldn't get the marquee guy to give the long-term deal to. So we're going to get a bunch of other dudes on non-long-term contracts. Even though Julius Randle did get $63 million. We're going to get guys on non-long-term contracts, and we're going to keep our options open for the future. I have no problem with that, but that was basically the Knicks' way of saying, look, 17-65 last year, we'll probably be around the same this year. Maybe a little bit better, but we'll still suck. That's fine. That's fine. But to have an impromptu press conference in the immediate aftermath of a game, a loss against the hapless Cleveland Cavaliers, you expect it to be better? I believe Steve Mills should be drug tested immediately for that statement. What the hell you mean you thought you were going to be better? We all knew y'all wasn't going to be. Who didn't know that? I've walked by vagrants with cups and change in a cup looking for dollars so they could get a meal that found a way to tell me the Knicks are going to stink this year. But you didn't know? You didn't know? What the hell is going on? I swear to God, y'all lucky I'm over FCC airwaves. Oh, my Lord. Oh. If there was ever a time that I wish that I wasn't restricted by FCC airwaves, it's this. It is this. I like Steve Mills. I think he's a highly intelligent dude, graduate of Princeton, business savvy, good dude. Scott Perry has been an elite evaluator of talent for years. He deserved this opportunity to be the general manager for the New York Knicks. They dropped the ball in terms of recruiting because they didn't get the targeted people like Durant and Kyrie, even though they had Madison Square Garden and they had $70+ million in cap space. That's bad. Outside of that, I get it. I understand it. Until last night. How in the hell could you have a press conference, an impromptu press conference at that, and literally utter some of the most idiotic words I have ever heard come out of any executive's mouth in the National Basketball Association talking about 10 games in, how you expect it to be better? Who did you call, Daryl Morey? Or somebody from MIT or something? Because all of those analytics, dude, seem to make decisions out of 10-game evaluations. So after 10 games, Carmelo Anthony gets let go by Daryl Morey. But he's Daryl freaking Morey. His team contends for titles. The New York Knicks don't look like they can contend for a spot at Rutgers Park. But the president of basketball operations is sitting here with a straight face telling us that you expect it to be better. You threw David Fizdale under the bus. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand? David Fizdale's done. Dude, good brother, knowledgeable about coaching, had the endorsement and support of Dwayne Wade and LeBron James because of the assistant that he was in Miami with the Heat. Phenomenal guy, knows basketball, and I believe he can coach. The only reason he was my second choice in New York again was because he didn't have the New York roots like Mark Jackson was. And when you're playing under somebody like James Dolan, with all the messy headlines that the New York Knicks appear to conjure, you need a face and a voice like Mark Jackson to ward off the Wolves or to hold them off at least a little bit. That's the only reason I was saying Mark Jackson over Fizdale in New York. Other than that, either one of them will work for me. Again, I haven't spoken to Fizdale but once since he got the New York Knicks head coaching job. I am telling you, he is being thrown under the damn bus. This is wrong. It's egregious. It's irresponsible. The New York Knicks stink. Period. We all know it. We can see it. And the sad part about it is, it's not that they stink as players. They got a lot of quality players on the team that can make contributions for the right teams and the right systems. But collectively, to bring them together as one and to call themselves a team is a national basketball embarrassment. And you throw David Fizdale on a bus 10 games in. Why? Why? Is it CYA going on, covering your you-know-what? Steve Mills got some explaining to do. Not Scott Perry. He works under Steve Mills. Steve Mills has some explaining to do. We're going to stop this nonsense right now. This is a hard conversation for me to have. I don't enjoy this. I got love for Steve Mills. But what he did yesterday with David Fizdale was inexcusable. Let's stop it right here. Steve Mills was gone for a little while, but for the most part, he's been a part of the Knicks organization since 2003. He was there when Larry Brown was the coach. It wasn't just Isaiah Thomas, it was him too. And James Dolan. He was there with the whole Anuka Brown Sanders and the lawsuit against Madison Square Garden. That wasn't just Isaiah Thomas. It wasn't just James Dolan. And oh, by the way, he was the president of Madison Square Garden at the time. And oh, by the way, Madison Square Garden is the one that lost the lawsuit. Not Isaiah Thomas. They didn't say he had to pay her $11 million. They said Madison Square Garden had to. We fast forward, and Phil Jackson and the debacle that he is, Steve Mills was there too. Isaiah Thomas is my brother. I love this man. I know him personally in ways most of you don't. I knew when he was coaching the New York Knicks how he didn't need to be doing that while the lawsuit was going on. And Stephon Marbury's moving into a house right behind him, causing problems at the time. And his mother was dying. Isaiah Thomas at that time had no business coaching the New York Knicks. Matter of fact, one of the ugliest fights he and I ever had was because I got on him because I wanted him to quit as the head of the New York Knicks. Because mentally and emotionally, with all the stuff that was going on, he was not equipped to do the job. Jonathan, why am I bringing that up? Because even as much love as I have for Isaiah Thomas, I went on national television and called for him to be fired. Because the job was just that bad with all that he was going through. And I had to call him the night before to let him know that's exactly what I was going to do. Am I calling for that for Steve Mills? Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. But what this man did to David Fizdale yesterday was disgraceful. He threw the coach under the bus. He's basically told the world, it's not really our fault. It's his. While he's still coaching the team, setting the stage for David Fizdale to be fired. Who don't know that David Fizdale is probably going to be gone? Who don't know that? I ain't going to lie to y'all. At this stage, I'll be shocked if David Fizdale lasts until Thanksgiving. Matter of fact, I might be shocked if he lasts till the end of this week. 10 games into this season of minimal to no expectations from any basketball fan with sense, you threw the head coach publicly under the bus. I didn't say anything about private. Steve Mills and Scott Perry have every right to give their recommendation to James Dolan. They got every right to have private conversations with the boss of Madison Square Garden and to let him know where they stand and why and what recommendations, whatever they may be, are. My issue is not with what they said. It's with the decision to have a press conference and to throw David Fizdale under the bus, sitting here acting like you have nothing to do with it. Nothing. It has nothing to do with what was said. It's the fact that they said it publicly. The New York Knicks just fired David Fizdale. They just haven't told us yet. Because by having that press conference yesterday, that's what you did. And for what? Because this team was supposed to be better? How much better were they going to be? Who didn't know the New York Knicks were going to struggle this year? Who didn't know? 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with your calls and more in a minute. By the way,